done.
You could do it.
If you like this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, put that down below. Now, if you've heard this rumor before and this has actually helped you, please put in the comments, oh my God, that actually helped. No, I don't care. Just write whatever you want, but please write something in the comments. And again, share this video for anyone who you think may
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, guys. I hope you're having a really good time. Let me know how the audio is, because I have new camera setups. We have now two DSLRs. We have this one and we have this one. Don't know how it's going to go. There seems to be some problems with some PCs not liking two different 4K connections into at the same time, so hopefully everything's okay. It's working right now, which is a good thing. We'll hopefully keep that going. Apologies for being a few minutes late. I was trying to sort this out. I had some slight things I wanted to tweak, and then my coffee machine decided to overflow, and there's coffee all over and there's hot milk all over in the kitchen. I've left it for after the stream, something to sort out later on. Let's see who's around and who's watching. So I can see that we've got Karcher here, we've got Anarchy. Good evening, guys. Anarchy got first today, actually. Anarchy got first. We've also got Huey, we've got Moon Cookies, we've got Don Brosflow, Nerdy, Porcupine, Kajahata, Visionaire, Switch Doctor. Good evening, folks. I hope you're all doing really, really, really well. I've realized that in my haste, I don't have half the things open that I need to do. So I'm going to do that for just a second while I tell you a little bit about what we're going to do on the stream today. So apologies if I'm looking all over the place while I'm trying to sort my monitors out. But effectively, what we are going to do today is one of two things, and you guys get to choose. We can either build a keyboard, or we can continue documenting keycap sets, because these are the two keyboard choices I have to do right now. So I'm going to let you guys vote in a few minutes. Yeah, the keyboard's not mirrored because the camera's now to the side. So it's not going to look weird when I start moving my arms around as much anymore, because it's not a head-on camera. So in a few minutes, I'm going to give you guys the chance to choose between helping me catalog, document, and restore keycap sets into tubs and everything else, like I did on the midweek stream, if you guys caught that. Or alternatively, we can build one of two boards. So I have two boards here right at the side of me that we could build today. So the first vote is going to be whether you want to see a build or whether you want to see some keycap storage and just some general chat, and we're just going to chill out and talk for an hour or two, or whether you want me to build a board. And it'll be one of two. So we're going to do both those in a second. I'm just going to change and update some of the commands just so we can do this. Okay, that's the build command updated. That's the build command. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so late getting ready today. Like, the whole day has just been hectic. We've done a ton of things between me and my wife. We walked the dog this morning, and then we started sorting some stuff out in the garage. Then I came to the workshop and had 3D printers to sort, and the coffee machine broke, and it's been a long day already, guys. It's been a long day. How did it go building the polyboard? Well, the polyboard's down here. If you look in this little camera, hold on, that little camera just there, it's the wrong side now. It's in this little box down here. You'll see that this is the polyboard that we built, and we've got coffee as well, because coffee is what I need right now. Also, new mugs, good thing. Okay, so new setup is looking fresh. Well, it's not finished yet. This is literally temporarily kind of fixed in place. Like, cables have still got tie wraps around them. There's one cable that's randomly running around underneath the desk and then comes up near me, so I can plug it into a powered USB hub instead of into the back of the PC. The couch that actually sits literally the other side of the monitor, so in front of me, is pushed away from where it usually is, and all of that needs putting back so I can get access to cables. So it's okay, we'll get that. And I want to kind of adjust the angle of the face cam. It's kind of slightly tilted a little bit out of where I'd like it to be. I kind of want to move it around a bit. I want to be able to show more of the wall behind me when we get more keyboards on it. Maybe move it up a touch so you can see the shelf above. I don't know, things to do, but this is the first time we're trying it. So there we go. Looking festive. Yeah, this is the Clack hoodie. This was a free gift from the Key.Company, company, so thank you very much to Jason and the gang for sending this over. But yeah, the Clack cat hoodie, it's pretty cool. Kakan says try turning up to 11. Well, like, both of the other challenge as well I had is both of the cameras are supposed to be the same camera, the Sony Alpha A6400, and when I went onto the new one just literally before the stream to set it up to do clean up HDMI out and all of that kind of stuff, the whole settings on it were completely different to what's on this camera, so it must have a newer firmware, and I could find none of the options I was looking for. It took forever. It's just been a really, really busy day. Risk is here as well. He says, hey man, good to see you. Luna Sam says, nice sweater, thanks. This is the Clack cat hoodie, my Christmas ugly sweater. It's got a bigger cat in the middle. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm for the latter. Okay, well we'll put it to a vote in a second, and you guys will be able to vote. No body paint. Can we document and build? Maybe if we've got time, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah, there's 2 boards that are options today, which are just the first ones I happened to grab. One I'd kind of thought about building today anyway. The other one I just happened to grab because it was close by. So yeah. Fedamite90 says, hi, hey man, good to see you, dude. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for being here. Hui says, any Ock mug? So I still have the Ock mug at home. Maybe I should bring that to the workshop. Maybe I should bring that to the workshop. My 3D printer clogged again. Need to replace the nozzle. Man, I had the most amazing prints happen yesterday. If you've seen my Insta stories from about an hour ago, I had this most amazing print. And the quality was sublime, apart from halfway through the print at some point, there'd been a layer shift. So instead of just stepping up nice and smooth, it just... But the quality on it was crazy good. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be there. Hopefully it'll be there. Jay's a keyboard god of Europe. Nah, not even close. There is some people out there with some crazy collections that put mine to shame. So that's not even true. Priolio, he's here as well. He says, good evening. Hey, man, good to see you. She is here as well. She. The legend is she. Hey, man, good to see you. Ravius, command for the mic. This is the Rode NT. I don't have a command set up for it, but it's the Rode NT. This mic, I've had it for about 3 years now, pretty much since I started streaming. But it's heavily configured to be a more realistic sound than to try and get rid of those bottom notes and top notes. It's kind of there to highlight the whole range. So it's heavily modified for that. Sweater not ugly at all, but it's a Christmas ugly sweater, but it's cool, yeah. Morgan Carver loving the sweater. King Nessie says, what we're building today, we've got a choice of 2. Saga, it was the 36-hour print. It's actually just started printing again about 20 minutes ago, so hopefully we won't get any layer shift this time, but the parts came out and they were so nice. Like, the rest of the parts were just perfect, and if the layers hadn't shifted, it would have been absolutely a magical print. It would be like one of the best prints I've ever had, but just had this tiny layer shift of about 2mm renders the whole thing useless. So there we go. Put Ursa on it. Well, I do have a selection of key sets at the side of me, which if we go to the documentation route and we start putting things away, we'll do that. So I don't know. There are options for key sets at the side of me. Hopefully they're all actually in there and they're not actually on boards, but I just grabbed a bundle, and so we'll see. Captain Ladies Man Jay, do you ever see yourself quitting your day job and making prototypist full time? So here's the thing. I haven't talked about this much in public, but like right now, I don't take any money out of Prototypist. Prototype is a business. It runs, it does its thing, and I take no money out of it. I don't take any dividends or payments or salaries, nothing. All of the money just gets reinvested back into it, and I have my day job to live off of, and that provides me with a very, very good salary, and I can't complain at that. What's happening in the next year is my day job is actually making me redundant, which means that my job for the company I work for no longer exists. So at that point, I will be leaving the company. Well, I did talk about it on the podcast. You're right, Brogan. I did, but not everyone listens to that. So I think we've got slightly separate audiences, so not everyone's heard that. But yeah, so the company I work for my day job, they're making me redundant. They're getting rid of my role. That means that I will, at some point in Q1, late Q1 or early Q2 next year, stop working for the company I work for. And I'll get a nice severance package and anything else. It's fine monetarily wise. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. I have other investments. I have other things. It's fine. Like, I can easily last out a few years now having a day job. I'm comfortable enough to be in, lucky enough to be in that position. The question then becomes, what do I do with my time? Do I go and find another job and do something similar to what I've been doing? Which there is some complications around. I have to wait at least 8 months between leaving my current job and starting another job if I stay in the same industry. I could do a similar role in a different industry, but I'm not sure how well my skills would translate, so that's another risk. Or the third option is I could just go full-time prototypist, and that might be the one that we take. It all depends, right? It's big steps, guys. It's not like a small thing. It's like a big step. It needs to be a decision that's taken between me and my wife. It needs to be something I talk to my accountant about. There's a lot of stuff in there, but there is a chance that at some point in early 2021, I will go full-time prototypist. So yeah. My company hasn't been bought out. It's not been bought out at all. It's Yeah, it's just what it is. I'm heavily involved in managing large-scale projects and programs of work to deliver change across an organization that is absolutely massive, and the organization has 140,000 members of staff, so it's a huge company with over 4,000 locations and everything else. So I'm used to doing like really big, heavy implementations of either hardware, technology, software, introducing disruptive technology and all sorts of other things. So what I've done for the company I work for, it's kind of all been done over the last period of time, the last 4 or 5 years, and they're not going to want to invest in that again for at least another 10 years. So I knew this was kind of going to become where it was. 159 says, just sell feet pics. People don't like hobbit feet. Sorry, 159, but people don't like hobbit feet, so that's probably a no. Option 4, come to America. Nah, you're good. You're good, guys. You're good. You can keep America to yourselves right now. Although saying that, Britain's not going to be much better off, so who knows? It's just I just see the feet pics 159 just cracking me up. Like, no one wants to see my feet. Like, no one. Like, even my wife hates my feet. I've got very hairy feet. If you think my face is hairy, my feet are hairier. Nathan Elfman says, I'll always buy your keyboards. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. OnlyFans account when? Got to give Salvan a little competition. I don't think I could give Salvan a run for his money on OnlyFans. I think he would flatten me if we both took that up. So we'd be surprised. James is here as well, evening man. He says, what's on the menu? So 2 things. Either we can do some keyboard chores and we can do some cataloging of key sets, which we did on stream the other week. A few days ago, or alternatively we can do a build and chat can pick which board we build, because I've got 2 at the side of me that need building, so chat can pick. So we're going to do 2 votes. Vote 1 will be, do we do keyboard chores or do we do a build? And vote 2, if we get to do a build, will be, which build do we do? So that's what we're going to do. Brexit and Boris, the 2 Bs, well, 3 Bs, Brexit, Boris and Biden, right? The whole world is going to have a bit of a change. So yeah. The real Lippy says, Jay, I got a banger idea for a new board. Can you help me make it a reality? Potentially is the answer to that. Reach out to me, show me what you got, show me what you got, and we'll take a look at it, man. We'll take a look at it. Japanich is here as well. He says, good evening. Hey, man. Hedgie says, come to Germany, work for GMK to speed up their production. I'd love to chat with Christoph about that. I'd love to sit down and have a chat with Christoph about it. You'd corner the keyboard bear market on OnlyFans, to be fair. I'm not sure how big of a market that is. I don't feel like it's a huge market. And my headphones are going to die. Another thing, my headphones are just bleed to say. They're going to die. Great. Yes! I'm so prepared today. So prepared. Biden is the best of those 3 Bs, though. 100%. I didn't mean that as a bad thing. I absolutely think Biden will be great for America. I think it's just going to be a weird transition period for him to fight through. And he's got his work cut out for him. The build is getting spoken about. Okay, maybe we'll do a build. We'll see. We'll put it to chat. You guys can decide in a few minutes. Build with Ursa. I don't have Ursa right here, so I do have Ursa in the workshop. So if it really comes to it and enough people demand to see Ursa, I could go get it, but I don't have it right here in the office. It's a 2-minute walk away. Pokemon Kid says, good evening, Jay, and Merry Christmas. Good evening, man. Good evening. Thank you very much for that. And I hope my switches are in the post. I know you sent an update the other day, and I think I read it and never got back to you, so I apologise, Matt. Let me know how that's gone. Go get Ursa. Oh, guys. Like, let me get the build done, and then if you want to see Ursa, I'll go get it. Okay? I don't have an OGR. Morgan Carver says, Jay, I know you said we can keep our America, but are the odds of you coming to the US higher with Trump in office or not, or out? The odds of me... So this is a hard one to answer because I actually came to America whilst Trump was in office, but that had no bearing on why I was there. I literally came for the Seattle meetup. So Trump being in office was not a reason for me to go to America. Trump being out of office is not a reason for me to go to America. I'd only be there on a visit anyway, so I'm only going to be there for vacation time, right? I'm not going to be there for business time. So, yeah, I'm not gonna get into the politics of America, but I do think Biden is probably better for America. Let's put it that way. Let me say Relax with Ursa. Yeah, I need to calm down because I've been running around and today has been so hectic. I was late with the stream. I was late getting cameras set up. I've not put the couch back in place. The coffee machine has poured coffee and hot milk everywhere. Yeah, like the sound wasn't great. The music was too loud at the start. Some video randomly started playing during the start of the stream. I don't know why, but it did. Anyway, I think we're okay now. I think we're okay. We're relaxing. Matt says, my switches aren't on their way because the guy never turned up yesterday and I was told they would collect today, and again, nothing. You're going to go tomorrow, to the post office tomorrow. Thank you, man. Let me know how much it costs for postage and I will send you that. The last line, LOL. That's the answer I wanted. Fair enough. I'm not going to comment too much on politics. I don't want this to be a political stream. The OGR is not real. The OGR is real. I've seen it. I've typed on it. I've used it. It is real. It's just not here. It's not something I own. So maybe one day. Snordex is here as well. He says, hi, chat. Hi, man. Good to see you, dude. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Okay. Let me get the first poll up. So, new poll. Build or chores? And you guys are going to get to vote in this in a second. And you guys can vote to see whether we do keyboard chores, which is going to be documenting keycap sets and changing them out of GMK trays and putting them into tubs. Or alternatively, you can see a keyboard build. We can do one of those two things. So let's start the poll. We'll put that up for 3 minutes. There you go. So the poll's up. You guys can now vote. Tell me what you want to see. And then if you guys choose build, we'll talk about the boards that are here to build, because there's two options. I heard if you message James enough, he will break and send you a free OGR. I message James a lot, and he hasn't sent me a free OGR. Like, I message James daily. Okay, most people are picking build here. So guys, if you do want to see some keyboard chores, let me know. Hey, I've had some freebies full, but I tend to give them away. The next giveaway actually will be the it'll be the E8.5 that Exclusive gave to me about 10 months ago. We're going to give that away just before Christmas, and then in January we're going to give away the percent SCOG reboot that King Nesty was kind enough to send my way. So we're gonna have two pretty nice giveaways soon, and I've also got a Singer that I need to give away as well at some point. So yeah, exciting times. Looking well groomed tonight. Thank you, but I'm really not. My beard needs a brush and a slight trim just down here. I think it's more that you can actually see my face properly today, because we're actually using a DSLR now for the face cam, which means I can blur my face by doing, if I can get the camera to focus on my hand, I can blur my face for a second. But yeah, I'm not very well groomed right now. I need to sort that out. Okay. Both amazing boards. Yeah, E8.5 giveaway. So it's actually one of the Chinese group buy ones is the E8.5 that we're going to give away. And it's E-white with black and pink accents. And we're going to give that away next week when we're on Mechs on Deck. So Brian and I are going to be joining Mechs on Deck for a Clack on the Decks Christmas special. And we're going to team up with Chewy and Osiris, and we're going to give away at least that board. Maybe some more stuff as well. So will you be able to relax a bit between the years, or do you have some proto chores to do? So officially, Prototypist as a company breaks up on the 22nd of December and starts back again at work on the 28th of December. So there's a little bit of time in between Christmas and New Year when Prototypist will be back, but it's really only got Monday and a bit of Tuesday before it goes offline for a few days. In my real life, I'm off work now from the day job until the 4th of January, so I've got plenty of time off the day job. So yeah, just a few days of rest and relaxation and time to myself and the wife and the dog over Christmas, and then I'll be back in the workshop again after a few days off. But yeah, looking forward to that. Nathan Alphaman says, I'm at home tomorrow, so I'm finally ready to come on the show. We don't have any more shows this year, dude. We've got the Top Clack Mechs on Deck Christmas special, and that's it until January. So it might be January now. Okay, so the poll went quite interestingly, 93% of you guys voted for a build today. So we're going to do a build, I guess. And that means that you guys can choose which build you want to see. So we can do one of two boards. So I'm going to put a second poll up. Okay, so I'm going to put a second poll up for 3 minutes now. You guys can pick and choose which board you would like to see built. So there we go. So that poll is now starting. Just let me know, guys, which you want to see. So pick one, and let's see what's going to get built. Captain Ladies Man says, Jay, somebody probably already asked you this already, but what are your thoughts on the Tsukiyami keyboard? It's a really great starter entry board, or for someone who's been in the hobby a while, wants a solid 65% with macro columns. I'm a huge fan of having macro columns on the left-hand side of a keyboard. It is my jam. It's my thing. I love it. So I thought that was really, really good. It reminded me a lot of the Jer Mini. I think it's a really cute keyboard, and I think people who get it will absolutely love it. I think it'd be great. Ruben says, a grown beard team. Thank you, man. Yeah, this is a 2020 thing. Before I used to have some facial hair, but not as much as this. Existential Yours says, ooh, with the separate bottom accent. Yes, so the E8.5 that I'm going to give away on the 23rd, that does have the separate weight in the bottom. So it's like a logo that's an accent on the bottom. In the Chinese version of the group buy, that was a separate piece that you could take in and out. And on the Western version of the group buy, it was actually just milled into the case. So the version of the board I have does have a separate piece there, yes. Is that a golden accent in the background, or is it orange? It's orange. It's orange. It's Cerakoted orange to be a close kind of color to match my Datsun. It's not perfect. I do have another board that is way better, which is a Lodestone. That's much closer to the actual color. Put up a tofu build so people go back to chores. Can you show what the physics is? If that wins, yeah, I'll show the physics. If the physics wins, I'll show the physics. I'll show both boards, actually. I'll show both boards. Full asking if I bought a K. I didn't. And it's a real shame because I really like Biso as well. Bisorami is a really great guy. And I love following his Insta stories. And I really want to support him, and I didn't buy one. I don't have a good reason for why not. You're voting for which board we're going to build, Full. We're going to build one. I mean, it says in the title what build, and then it gives you two: a Physics or a Duck Viper V2. So you're picking which build we're going to do today. That feeling when you confuse channel points and bits. Oof. Would love to see that Lodestone. It's in the warehouse. It's been on stream before. If you go onto the Lodestone thread on Geek Hack, you can see I actually highlight loads of different parts of one of the build streams that I did where I showed it, where I showed off how it moves and all of that kind of stuff. So you can absolutely go and see that. What can Blind Pen confirm? I don't know what that is. Pokepoint says, how do I Cerakote in the UK? There are a few places you can get Cerakote in the UK done. I've only tried 2 or 3 places, and I know some people are trying some more. There's only one place I really recommend, but it's quite expensive, and that's TAC Coatings, TAC Coatings. They have a contract to do military stuff, so that's an option in the UK. They don't do things for overseas customers, though, sadly. Okay. Oh, you confirmed the OGR will be a thing someday. Yeah, someday in 2024, I think we said the other day. I'm just trying to wind you up, She. No, it'll be sooner than that. To continue the food discussion from 2 or 3 streams ago, plans for Christmas dinner? Oh, man. So for Christmas dinner this year, we're having both ham and turkey. The ham is going to be cooked the day before. It's going to be slow cooked. It's going to have a mustard and honey glaze. Over it, we've got a whole ham leg bone through the center of it as well. It's going to be perfect. The turkey is what used to be called a capon, so it's kind of like slightly smaller than a turkey, but it has a lot more flavor in it. And that's what we're going to have for Christmas Day for meat-wise, because we are meat eaters. We're also going to have just all the lashings around it: mashed potato, roast potato, cabbage, cauliflower, carrots, peas, nice, thick, rich gravy. You name it, we're going to have it. Yeah, looking forward to it. Brussels sprouts. Love Brussels sprouts. Yeah. The guy who I use recommends tack coatings. My guy also does it and does it for Remington shotguns. Yeah, tack coatings do a really good job, but they're not cheap and they won't do it for outside of the UK. They will only do stuff in the UK. So yeah. There is a load more companies checklist, but I haven't tried them, so I don't want to recommend something I haven't tried. Like that'd be not very good of me to do. I don't want to recommend something that I haven't tried personally. Brussels sprouts are great. We do parsnips. Yeah, we will have parsnips. So yeah, so I usually do the sprouts with like a vinaigrette dressing. So someone mentioned vinegar as well. Yeah, Pokemon Kids. We do like a vinaigrette dressing. But what we do is we get beetroot and we grate the beetroot up, and then when you put the cut into the top of the Brussels sprouts before you boil them, or we just parboil them for a little bit, and then we get the beetroot and we basically douse it in vinegar. We make it like a kind of like a sauerkraut because we sometimes put like other bits of pieces in there. Then what we do is once it's been in the vinegar for a little bit, we drop it in the frying pan. We fry it off with some bacon, tiny little bits of bacon until they go crispy, and then we mix the Brussels sprouts into that and cook them off for a few minutes, and then you get all of that kind of meaty, lovely flavour and stuff all over it, and then we serve them. So yeah, sprouts are good if you prepare them properly, guys. Sprouts are good if you prepare them properly. You don't just put sprouts in hot water and then put them on a plate. Like that's not preparing them. That's like warming them up. Like there's better ways to do it. Goose fat, frying pan, bacon, tiny little pieces of it into the frying pan, cook it through, drop in some beetroot that's grated up, that's been in vinegar, maybe a little bit of cabbage in there as well if you want to, and then you parboil the sprouts. You boil them for a few minutes, and then you put them all in the frying pan, mix it all up, try and cram every last bit of flavour you can in. A little bit of garlic in there, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of thyme. You want to use thyme because it just adds a really good flavour to it, and it works really well with the beetroot. Don't add anything like bay leaves or anything like that. It just ruins it. Tried it, doesn't work. So yeah, there you go. And whatever's left over, if you don't serve it with the sprouts, mix it into your stuffing. So there we go. So I see lots of food. I see lots of food posted in there. I just don't cook very often, but when I do, I go all out. If we hadn't had Roanoke Bucky for my Christmas dinner, I don't do Christmas dinner. I prepare the day before and then let my wife heat it up. Should do a cooking stream, man. I don't have any gear to stream from home anymore, and I can't really cook from here. Although I did get a new appliance for the workshop the other day, yesterday, which I've never owned in my life before, and that's a microwave. I've never owned a microwave in my life, and now I have one here at the workshop. So there we go. Right, okay, so you guys did pick the Physix to build, so we're going to flip over to the other camera in a second, and then we're going to crack on. I'll show you both boards and then we'll build the Physix. Okay, let's flip over the cameras. There we go. You should be able to see my nice gaff desk mat. Let's show you the boards first. So this first one, I forgot I had this. I actually found it in a box when Crispies came to visit the workshop the other week. So he came to talk about a few bits and pieces. I'm just going to move my monitors back slightly. Or I would if it would go back. And we were just sorting through a pile. And we actually found this just randomly tucked away. So I forgot I had this. I thought I'd sold most of my duck boards, but it turns out I hadn't. Okay. People getting a little bit upset about the microwave coming. I've never owned one before. Like genuinely never owned one. I've never needed a microwave, never bought one, never had one. Porcupine really shocked by that. How the heck do you heat stuff? In a pan on the hob. Put a flame under it. That warms things up pretty well. How do you eat cold ass food? I don't eat cold ass food. I eat nice warm food usually, unless it's supposed to be cold. Like, it's not unusual to not have a microwave, right? Like, loads of people don't have microwaves, right? Like, am I missing something here? Like, not everyone has a microwave, and I've never needed one. Yeah, like, yeah, Zizora doesn't have one. Yeah, it's fine. Don't make it out as though I'm a weirdo, right? I don't need a microwave at home, so I don't have one. I need one at the workshop because there's other things I need it for, not just food. So, there. Okay, so first things first, this is the duck plate. If you get it the right way around, it supports ANSI and ISO, and it's aluminium. It's never been opened. This is the PCB. It's USB mini. If the camera focuses on that. There we go. Yeah, it's solid PCB. It's got the duck LEDs at the top. Never been used, never been soldered, brand new, still sealed. Viper and Eagle version 2. So there you go. And then here we have the board. I've never been in a home without a microwave. Like, we didn't have one growing up either. Like, my mum only ever got a microwave after I'd moved out. So she got a microwave when I was like, I don't know, 25, and I'd left home. I left home at like 17. So like 7 or 8 years after I'd left the house, that's when she got a microwave. She was getting older. But and then when she passed away, my brother took that. So yeah. From when is this board? This is from a few years ago. This is a Duck Viper V2 I'm going to say 2016, I think, was the group buy for it. The only thing that's slightly different is I have had an additional weight made up for it, which is from number 23, which I got about 10 months ago, I think. But here it is, the Duck Viper V2 in black. This is the HHKB version. And as you can see, it's got that brass weight inside, so it's pretty chunky. It's got the old style duck chunky rubber feet. So yeah. There you go, guys. That's the Duck Viper V2. When I do get around to building this, we're going to build it straight HHKB. No funny business, no ISO. It's just going to be straight HHKB and just with the LEDs for the top here. If you guys haven't seen that, the duck boards do have, if it'll focus, LED points just up here. So you have them just across there for different things. Basically indicator lights. So yeah, but it's nice. It's a bit dusty. It's been around a while. I've had it a while. Yeah, that's the other build we could have done today. It is almost retro. Yeah, it's an old board in this hobby. It's an old board. I forgot I had it until, as I say, Crispies came around the other day for help with his JO2. Of course, we were socially distancing in the warehouse, and we fixed his JO2. That was all nice and sorted. And we were just looking through some other bits, and we actually happened to find this just randomly on a shelf. So yeah, I think it just got moved here when I moved all of my personal keyboards into the warehouse, and I just forgot what was in the box, and it just got tucked to one side, and that was that. Okay, Muzerites, good evening, good sir. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, I'll show you the physics in a second because we've got quite a few goodies for this. Gotta love a good coffee. I don't know what my life would be like if I didn't have coffee in it. Okay. First things first, we have some nice wrist rests for the physics. We've got a black one and we've got a white one. So big shout out to Clay who sold me this actually. I've got a wet thumbprint on that one there from my coffee. And a white one as well. This one's still in the cellophane, never been unwrapped. What beans are they? Music down a little bit, please, Chief. Yeah, sure, we can turn the music down a bit. There we go. It's down about 10%. What beans are they? So these are the last of a bag of beans that I wanted to get rid of and use up. I can't remember what they are. I have got some new ones. If you check my Insta stories, Mr. Petro, I've just got some new ones in yesterday that I unboxed today. There's some nice ones in there. Looking forward to that. T-Zack says, good call, time for coffee. Nice. I'm craving potato chips, but also need to use my board. What's your solution to that problem? Gloves. I don't know. Just eat the potato chips, stop using the board, and then use your board after you've washed your hands. Wash your hands, people. Wash your hands. I think it was Petrov ordered Keycut coffee. Cats ate them all. Oops. Yeah, I've never ordered the Keycut coffee. It'd be awful by the time it got to me. That's a lot of screwdrivers. Yeah, this is a Weha set of screwdrivers that I got a little while back. It covers everything from hex to Torx to reverse hex to flathead to Phillips. Yeah, it even does bolt holders and all sorts of stuff. It's an all-encompassing set. It was not cheap because they're all Weha branded. But these are the Weha Pico finish ones. Come on, camera, focus. Focus, please. Camera, please, focus. There you go, Weha. There we go. Okay. And then in here, we have the board that we're going to build today. So this is the LZ Physix. First things first, it comes with these adorable little LZ tags down here, which are really nice. Harold annihilated my Kekal coffee. Rip. Okay, the zip's stuck. Not quite sure why. There we go. Hand washing is the way. Yeah, wash your hands, guys. Okay, gonna open this up. First things first, we have some bump-ons and some fat washers, which are interesting. I'll have a look at these. Then we have a PCB. This is an LZ PCB. Then we have another PCB. Then we have another PCB. And then we have two plates. We have a carbon fiber plate, which you can see here, and then in the same package the other way around, there's actually another one on top of here, which you'll have to trust me, there is a PC plate as well. Thank you, Tyson, for the nice ugly sweater comments. It is a nice ugly sweater. Clack. It's very warm. It's very comfortable. Throw away the weight that comes with the physics. It only ruins the sound. Interesting. Interesting. But I thought you really liked this board, Mr. Petrov. I thought you really liked it. And here under here is the board. Now it is built already, but we're going to take this build out. This is with an aluminium plate. We're going to take this build out, and as I said, we're going to use some of the other parts to do a build. But here is the board itself. It's got the Physix logo just up here. I'll show you guys that a little bit up closer. Physix just up here. And it's got this kind of deep recessed seam all the way around, which is pretty nice. On the base, it's just nice and plain, but it does have these nicely curved side profiles here, which make picking the board up dead easy. It's pretty chunky. It's pretty hefty. It's got a bit of weight to it. USB-C centered. Well, I say centered. It's not quite centered, but USB-C there. So yeah. It's a pretty nice board. Comes in as you saw, a TX style case that's LZ branded. Can't knock that. Can't knock that at all. People buy 4 PCBs and 3 plates with their buys now. Why not, man? Why not? Was this one Clay's? It was Clay's. Yes, I did buy this off Clay. You can tell by the bottom row. Why did he build the wrong bottom row? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, no one's perfect. Clay's a good lad, though. Clay's a good guy. Some of TKC's apparel is pretty nice. Yeah, they sent me this for free. I unboxed it on my Insta the other day. I thought I'd wear it just because it's close to Christmas, and it's kind of fun. Seeing an LZ with that huge weight is odd. Yeah, well, the other LZ board I has, that has a huge weight, a stainless steel weight in the base of it. Okay. First things first, let's decide how we're going to build this. So I'm going to give you guys a poll. You're going to have 3 minutes to answer it, and you guys are going to be able to pick as to whether we use the carbon fiber plate or the polycarbonate plate. Okay, I'm going to start that poll now, guys. You can pick between polycarbonate and carbon fiber. Let me know in the poll which you would like to see, and that's how we build it. Mr. Petrov says, for what it's worth, the burger rings I used were the white ones, slightly softer, but each to their own. They come with black rings too, which are stiffer. Yeah, so I think the white ones are actually in the board because the black ones are all in here, and there's just 2 white ones in here. So I think the rest of the white ones are in the board. I'm probably going to go with those first. To help you decide, guys, on which plate we're going to use, we're going to use some lubricated inks. These are Gateron ink switches, and that's what we're going to be using today. These have been lubed with 205 grade 0, and that's what we're going to use today. PC always sounds so clacky plasticky to me. Nice. Glad to stop by while I sift my way through PCB design material. Yeah, Bats, you should definitely check out AIO3's guide. It's really, really good. If I can follow it, you can definitely follow it, because I'm not very good at that. Did I already rebuild my thermal? No, not yet, Priolio. Not yet. It is ready for rebuild. The switch has been broken in. I just haven't got around to desoldering it, ready for rebuild. The inks are not filmed. No, they're just lubed. I believe it's already in the case, Mr. Petrov, yes. I believe it's already in the case. I haven't taken it apart yet. This is the first time I've actually taken the board out of the bag, to be honest. So, yeah. The new thermal build will be in the new year, Priolio. So I think the builds for next year are going to start off with an Argyle, the duck board that we didn't build today, maybe another lodestone build, we'll see. And then we've got some rebuilds. So we've got an Iron 180 rebuild, we've got the thermal rebuild, and we've got some other ones as well. Okay. I feel like my headphones may have just died. Okay, no, the batteries have not died, which means the music's paused. There we go. I fixed it. Fixed the music. It's all sorted. Okay, let's see what you guys are voting for. So most votes are going for the carbon fiber plate, about 71%. The remainder have gone for the polycarb. So it looks like we're going to be building with carbon fiber today. Interesting. Let's say there are 2 plates in here. So there is the. I swear to you, there is a plate here, which is polycarbonate. There you go. You can see it there in the light. And then, of course, we've got the carbon fiber version here as well. Okay, so the plate poll ended with carbon fiber. Polycarb could be interesting if the PCB looks good. Well, there is a really, really nice PCB that is going to go with the polycarbonate one, which is this one. Just purely because I'd like to be able to see some parts of this PCB because it's got really nice copper traces. So we are just going to use a boring, a black PCB. This is just a plain PCB, which is a little bit plainer. So we're going to use that with the carbon fiber. And we're going to save the other one. I think the other one was done by Heine. We're going to save that for the polycarbonate plate. Another invisible plate, absolutely. Okay, I think we're just going to need to use the flush cutters to just start to open this up. There we go. They're both done by Heine. Nice. I thought they were, yes. Physics, one of my boards I'm thinking about getting a custom anode job for. The board is great, except the anode job is pretty bad. The anode on this one's reasonable. Like, it's nice and smooth, but it's a bit patchy in places. Like, nothing major. Like, it's difficult to show on camera as well, but there are some slight patchiness to it in places, but nothing that I would be unhappy with. The color matching is slightly different as well, and there is like a thin line that runs across the edge of the top border, which I'm never going to be able to show you this on camera, but there's like a thin line in the anode that's patchy that just runs above the seam here, but nothing that I'm unhappy with for the board. Okay, let's take this board apart and see how it's constructed, and we'll just pop that plate and PCB assembly to one side, ready for the build. Yeah, okay, so there's some the base is not as nice as the top when it comes to the anodization finish. There is some different tonage here. You can probably see that if I hold it just like that. You can probably see there's some dark patches and light patches. And weirdly of weirds, it actually uses Phillips screws. It's a long time since I've had a board that had Phillips screws in it. Wait, there is no screw in there. There is even a screw missing. I think I might have to dig some of the screws out of this and replace them, because I'm not a fan of Phillips screws, I'll be honest. So I'll have to, after we've done the build today, I'll have a look through the workshop and see if I've got anything that will be suitable. In fact, there's another one with no screw in there. There is 2 screws missing on the case. Interesting. Clay scammer. I don't know if he's a scammer. I wouldn't go that far. Okay. Christ, the weight's a big piece of metal in here. Interestingly, how there was only 5 screws holding that together, when there should have been 8. Where were the other 3 screws, Mr. Clay? Okay, so as you can see here, this is the weight inside here. It's actually got a protective coating on that's not been pulled off, which I would have done immediately upon building it. But yeah, we'll see it with the weight in, and we might, if we've got time, try it with the weight out as well. In terms of how the plate and the PCB assembly fit into the board, effectively what you do is you put these little rubber gaskets, if I show you these here up close, you slide these into the plate assembly like so, and then that's what the board rests on inside the case. And the case actually has little nubbins here and here, just for those to sit on in all of the sections. Okay. Okay, there's some slight anodization issues on the inside of the case, but again, it's inside. I'm not massively fussed for that. The LZ made in Korea is etched in. That looks like it's actually been carved into the case itself. There we go. There's very few internal chamfers. It's okay. There's nothing intricate in here that's machined. There's nothing that's badly machined at all. There's some kind of... It's pretty neatly machined, to be honest, guys. I don't think we'll put any LEDs in the build today, but there is some indicator LEDs available for this. The really cool part about the machining on this, though, is actually the way that the seam is done. It's milled into this top piece, so there's kind of like an edge all the way around it, which is how they get the visible seam. But that is chamfered on both pieces, so that's a lot of extra machining that's been done in there. And that's a really neat job. That's a really nice job. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. Especially the way it's been chamfered. Nice. Nice. Okay. So the board's pretty simple in construction. Just 8K screws. Clay only sent 5. And yeah, the board just mounts nicely in there, compresses between the top case and the bottom case. So whilst it aligns on this part of the case, it just sits flat on here and then it compresses against it as you screw the case together. Simple construction. I kind of like it. The simpler the better sometimes with this kind of stuff. Okay, just take these little gasket mounts out. And then we can say goodbye to this build. Carbon fiber to the left, so sexy. Carbon fiber is sexy. Oh, there was, I tell a lie, there was 6K screws, not 5, so there's just 2 missing. Okay, this is how the board's going to go together. The first things first, it's time to do some stabilizers. And then we can start to get through the build. Okay, I think I have a set of stabilizers here. Porcupine says that's a nice design for 2016. This particular board was is last year's. If you mean the Duck Viper, that was 2016. Yeah. It came with Torx originally. He kept those and gave you Phillips. Haha, funny, funny. The plastic is there so it doesn't short hit when you type. Wait, what? It hits and shorts when you type? Wait, what? Is that a thing in this board? That can't be right. Yeah, I'm going to need some bits to get me to try it without the weight first. Yeah. Yeah. That carbon fiber to the left is sexy. Carbon fiber always looks good. It always looks good. I took the plastic off my weight and had no shorting issues. Well, we'll see if Mr. Petrov keeps his word on bits. We don't need any big space bars here. We just need little space bars. Okay, sorry, little stabs, space bars, stabs. Okay, so what do we need? We need one for backspace. We need one for ANSI enter. We need one for left shift. And we need 2 for space bars. Okay, and then we need quite a few housings and inserts here. So we've got 1 housing, 1 insert, 1 housing. Okay. So let's lay this out a little bit more logically to make sure we've got the right number of bits here. These are just standard Durock stabs, nothing special here, guys. Trying to find some inserts now. Okay, there we go. We should have everything we need there ready to lube. Okay. Time to just take it steady, lube these switches, lube these stabilizers, and then we can put some switches in the board. Others were having shorting issues. Could, depending on the material, I see it being a bigger issue with PC than CF. Yeah, it depends on how much flexibility there is, but I wouldn't have thought there would be enough flexibility for it to actually short out in a board like this. I'd be very surprised if that was the case, like especially during normal typing. Especially from someone like LZ, this isn't his first rodeo, right? There's been a few LifeZone boards out there now, like quite a few boards out there. But I wouldn't have thought that any of them would help if I got the inserts in the right way in this. Would actually short out. Like maybe if you absolutely hammered it, but not just under normal typing force. I'd be very surprised if that was the case. Okay, that's one side done. You mentioned that using the Nui chair. Do you recommend it? I'm looking for some input from an actual user. Yeah, I've had it since August time, and I absolutely adore the chair. It's really good. It's very comfortable. It's easy to adjust. The headrest is nice. The lumbar support is great. It's a great chair. The only thing I would do is upgrade the wheels to some actual proper modern style casters, like rollerblade wheel style casters, but other than that, I think it's an absolute bargain for the price it is.
Tasty, tasty.
Thank you very much, Mr. Petrov. 500 bits. No wait first try. Take my bits. Okay, we'll do no wait first try. First try. We'll do that. We can do that. Okay. Just lubing the slider rails now. And that is stabilizer number 1 done. Have you seen the Wampus yet? The beer? Wampus beer? I've had Wampus beer before, if that's what you mean. I haven't tried any of the refurbished chairs. I got mine brand new, so I wouldn't know what to say on a refurbished one. If the refurbished ones are guaranteed to be as good as the actual original ones, then yes. But if they're not, then no. I wouldn't risk that. The Wampus is an Alice. Zoo took an Alice and put a screen on the space up top. And I haven't seen that, no. I don't keep up with interest checks very much as anywhere near as much as I used to, I'm afraid, dude. I apologize. I used to look at almost every interest check that was posted on Geek Hack, and now I just don't have the time to. Nor the inclination, if I'm honest. There's so much cool stuff out there that I would struggle to keep up with everything. It's not an IC? Okay, I've not seen it either way, sorry. I apologize. I apologize. You made it sound like a board that was in interest check right now. Okay. That's stabilizer number 2 done. If you guys think there's a right way and a wrong way to build the bottom row on this, let me know. And let me know what the right way is, because I haven't built one of these yet. So please do let me know how you think that should be. I'm more than happy to go with your guys' recommendation on that. Okay. Why is this always so much harder one-handed? Yeah, sure, feel free to link a pic, yeah. I'm pretty sure Nightbot won't tell you off if you do link a pic. If it does, well, I apologize now. Let me finish lubing this stabilizer and I'll take a look at that in a second, Eddie. Okay. Remember, don't add too much lube when you're lubing, guys. It's always easier to go back and add more lube than it is to remove it. So better to go gentle and under lube than go nuts and over lube in the first instance. Just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at this image. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's nice. That's really good. Big fan. Big fan. It looks good. Okay, back to what we talked about though, guys. Let me know if you do think there's a correct bottom row for this and what that should be. Owners of the board especially. That means you, Mr. Petrov. As a usually Sangan bottom row user and non... Why would that go in? Let me check why I did. Fair enough. Oops. Okay, almost there now. Just one more stabilizer left to do after this one. 2.25U left spacebar. Okay. We'll take a look at that in a second, guys. We'll have a look. I'm really looking forward to the Skoog and Type in the K. And Type K in the future. Oh yeah, the Skog and the Type K. Yeah, the Skog was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've lent it to a friend at the moment, so he can take a look at it, and that should get back to me early in the new year. So yeah, I'm excited to give that away. Like really excited to give that away. I think someone's going to get a really nice board on their hands from that. Sent pic to Discord DM. I don't even know if I have Discord open, dude. I do. Okay, so yeah, so 2.25 left shift, so it goes 1.25, 2.251, and then is that a 2.75 on the right? Is that what it is? Is that 2.75 on the right? Okay, so we're going to need a set with a numpad or actual split spacebars then. That's going to limit my options, I think. I'm not sure if I have the spacebars for Ursa, you know. Mr. Alphaman, does Ursa support physics in base? Okay, I just want a board with Alice layout that supports ISO enter. So you can't have Alice layout and ISO enter. You have to have some sort of derivative variation that's slightly different to Alice layout. So just to be clear, the way that the Alice layout works, the way that the columnar stagger is actually applied to the board, you can't have ISO on it. And I'll show you for why once I've looped this stabilizer. There are boards out there that do support ISO that are split in a similar fashion, FLX Virgo being one option. I'm sure there are others as well, but once I've lubed the rest of the stabilizer, I'll show you why you can't have ISO enter. Okay, that's the stabilizer's lubed. Okay, so using an ISO board as an example, you can see that we have a straight line down this edge, right? ISO uses that straight line, ANSI uses that straight line but has two separate keys. So it has a key here, and then it has a key that takes up the bottom of ISO enter and this key as well, and that's your ANSI enter key. Now what that means is on ANSI you have a straight line here that's split in two. So you have the same split that's across this row that goes across the two caps, and you have one cap on that row, one cap on that row. ISO doesn't. It goes across both rows, so it needs a straight edge here. If you then look at the Alice style layout board, so the physics, the Alice, whatever, it's actually staggered row by row, and what you'd actually need is this row to be inwards by 0.25 U to be able to have that vertical straight edged keycap in that position here. So it can't actually sit there because that's not a vertical line. It actually goes this way here, so there's a gap there. So you can't actually have ISO on here. It just doesn't fit. You would have to move it and adjust the board really badly. Unless you 3D print an upside down T-shaped enter. You'd have to 3D print an ISO enter that went up, along, down, along, and it'd have a really narrow waist. It'd be terrible. It would be terrible. Flip the ISO key upside down, you're good to go. Yeah, but then you have to change the stagger on the actual columns. Like you can't have standard stagger across your QWERTY row and your ASDF row. You can't have that then because you've ruined that by putting the straight line on this side of the keycap. So you can't have it. ISO is better. I prefer ISO, but you can't do ISO on this layout without changing the layout and the way it works. Tzark, no, ISO is just, it's another enter. Do you know what my argument is? Let's just split the enters. It doesn't matter whether you do split ANSI or split ISO, you end up with the same thing. Let's just do that and split the enters. Okay, so now we've done and lubed our stabilizers. We're going to put these into the board. These are screw-in stabilizers. As I say, they are Durock screw-in ones. So we're just going to put these into the board in the relevant places, and then we'll screw them in a moment. Uh, 2.75 U shift, so we want to use the rightmost. Sorry, 2.75 U right spacebar. So we want to use the rightmost setting here. Is that right? Let me have a look at Mr. Petrov's picture. Let me have a look at Mr. Petrov's image. So yeah, so it wants to be as far over this way as it can go. So that's right there. And then on this side, let me get that picture up again. We want to do 1.251. Sorry, 1.25, 2.251. So if we've got 1 U here, and which of the slots here do we need to? Mr. Petrov, thank you very much for that. Please delete that. You're lucky I'm not showing my screen, man, because that would have got me banned from Twitch. Mr. Petrov, which are we in the left or the right stabilizer hole on the left-hand side spacebar? I think we're in the right-hand side one, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Please check and correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, and then we've got a shift over here. Okay. Time to just pop these into the board. You can only go off the picks too. Okay. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It doesn't matter. It's only a keyboard. As long as the keyboard works, we'll all be good. Okay, remember when you're tightening these screws, guys, you're not trying to crush the PCB. You just want to go tight enough to hold the stabilizer in. Don't try and crush the PCB. Nothing wrong with big ass enter. That's oh, I have some older boards that are big ass enter boards. Nothing wrong with that key. And again, ANSI and ISO just split up that key in different ways. That's how ANSI and ISO were actually created, just splitting up big ass enter in different ways. Okay. I'm curious as to how you can only go off pictures, Mr. Petrov. Are you not watching from where you keep your boards? Imagine if Big Ass Enter would come back. Hey man, I'd buy that. There's still some keycap manufacturers that can make Big Ass Enter keys. GMK is one of them. They do have the molds for that key. You're at the country house. Oh, Mr. Petrov is visiting the country house, folks. Do say hello to the horses for me, good sir. I'm just kidding, Petrov. I'm just kidding. It's only jealousy. I'll be on-call salary chef for Petrov. Nice. I'm waiting for Mr. Petrov to sell his country house and buy me a CNC machine. I'm sure his wife would love that. Mr. Ed says a big hello. Hello, Mr. Ed. Good afternoon, good sir. How you doing? How much is a 5-axis CNC machine? A lot. I'm only joking. When I say get Petrov to buy me one, I'm only joking. How much for the 6-axis? The 6-axis is the one that transcends time, right? It depends on the machines you go for, Cohen. Like, there's different brands that are more expensive than others, and some are cheaper than others. But if you were going to go for like a Haas that could do 5-axis machining, expect to be spending, 6 figures, somewhere around 150,000 euros, 200,000 euros, plus more money for tooling, that kind of price. So they're not cheap, but they're not. And I say this with the best will in the world, they're not that expensive, really, all things considered. But you can go more than that. You could buy a Mori machine and spend millions of euros on them, or you could, buy. There's so many different brands out there. You can buy the brother ones, the Speedio range. They're a little bit more than the Haas ones, for example, but not massively so. So, yeah, about the cost of a reasonable size house, yeah. Well, I mean, the coding of CNC is basically all G code. It's kind of like the reverse to 3D printing, and it's more learning the CAM software than learning the G codes these days. But anything's doable. DMG Mori is the Ferrari of CNC. Yeah, kind of, but like you can spend €1 million on one. If you wanted to. It depends on what you want to spend your budget on. Like if you buy €150,000 CNC machine, you'll probably want €30,000 worth of tools as well to go along with it, from compressors and coolants and cullets and bits and tools. You'd probably spend another 30 grand on tools. So yeah. Yeah, 200k, which is about €150,000, yeah, for a multicam, yeah. All depends on what you want to use. I mean, realistically, from buying a CNC machine, it's a couple of months for you to get it set up and working to the way you want it to be. If anyone's been watching Salvin's stories, you'll see with his new machine, he's had it a month or so now, and he's just getting up to speed with it. And if it's your first machine, you're talking 6 months before you're making saleable parts that you can sell, realistically. Plus, then you've got all of your costs to learn how to cam and everything else, and there's courses to go on and everything. Health and safety that you need to consider, licenses, insurancing, software costs. There's a whole raft of kit and caboodle that you have to go along with. If you're a registered business, you have to do it in certain ways depending on different countries, and you have to have it as a business asset and liability, and you need to make sure it's insured in the right way and that you've got all of the right training, that you can prove that you've got all of that documentation as well. Lots of stuff to go with. You've got to prove that you've got the health and safety protocols in place in case anything happens. Yeah, lots of stuff. Certainly when I've looked at it, it's got all of that stuff in there. Yeah, different chipsets can be 5k, 10k, and then I mean it depends on what you need from coolant perspectives, and whether you want to put different trunnion tables in there, and there's all sorts of different things that you can do. Okay, this carbon fiber plate, wherever this was made, this barely holds switches. Interesting. Like the switches don't clip into this. Interesting. So the plate's CNC milled, but it feels like no. Yeah, the switches just don't clip in. Interesting. This could be an interesting build. I bought one of the new Moon TKLs because I love that board. I think it's great. If you go from 3-axis to 6-axis, yeah, we shouldn't ever need anything in keyboards at 6-axis machining. Like that's kind of way above what we probably need in keyboarding. There's very few times we'd need 5-axis. 5-axis just makes things easier and faster, really, for what we do in keyboards, for the vast majority of keyboards. I'm a bit worried about this plate because the switches are not holding into it the way I would like. Do they fit better in the PC one? I don't know. Let's try. There is a plate here, guys. I promise you. There is a plate in my hand. I know it looks invisible. Yes, they fit better into the... Oh, actually... No, I think it's the plate design. They don't actually hold in. Like, that's all the way in, and now it's not. Like, they don't clip in. It's a plate design issue. Yeah, I could try the switches. I use some different switches with the build. I think it'll be okay, but we'll use the inks. Ink's usually fatter than cherry switches anyway, so it just feels like this is probably cut slightly too large. Slightly too large. I'm going to design something that requires 6-axis. I want the engineers to hate me. Expect something expensive to produce. We don't need to do 6-axis in keyboards. It's just not needed. Or design something that can only be 3D printed in metal. Well, 3D printing is different manufacturing, right? That's additive manufacturing. CNC is reductive manufacturing. So, I mean, they're two very different forms of creating something. Whilst 3D printing and additive manufacturing has its benefits, I think for what we like from keyboard cases, subtractive manufacturing is more suited to that. Your machine had to upgrade software on the PC and we need to change the chipset for it to update. There you go. That's another 30k. DD Decline, thank you very much for the raid, good sir, and welcome to the 31 folks that have joined. Today we are building an LZ Physix. We're currently in the process of putting ink switches into the plate and PCB assembly. These are lubed with Crytox 205 grade 0. And we played a fun game today where chat got to choose what board we built. We had 2 builds on offer, a Duck Viper V2 from 2016 in black, HHKB layout, or the LZ Physix in silver, which just arrived in my workshop the other day. Chat chose the Physix, and we're about halfway through the build. A hybrid additive subtractive machine. Some 3D printers can do that. They do have mill bits that you can swap out the hot ends for, or laser to do ablation and stuff like that. None of the ones I've used, including some of the Snap Maker machines, have been amazing at anything because they're jacks of all trades, but you can get some reasonable results out of them. I think it's less process driven and more material driven. Metal cases are desirable and metal additive many processes just aren't in line with alternatives. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry. I didn't explain it that way, but you're absolutely right. Yes. But even if metal additive processes were acceptable, I think we'd still mill cases. I think we'd absolutely still mill them. The simplest way is to get someone else to pay for it. Got it. Yeah, well, it depends on what you want to do, dude, right? Depends on what you want to do and what you want to learn. There's no right or wrong answers in this hobby. Okay. About half the switch is put in. And just a reminder, guys, that when we do get to the section of the build where we're soldering, you guys can ask any question you like. I'm just going to jump back to Mr. Petrov's picture now. Good, he got rid of the other picture. Okay, great. Okay. Just making sure the switch is in the right spot, or as far as I can tell, they're in the right spot. So when we get to the soldering part, you guys can tag me with @TopClack, and you can ask any question you like, and I will answer it as long as it's Twitch safe to answer. So start to think of some questions, guys. Start to think about what you're going to put into chat and ask me. But it can be about anything. It does not have to be keyboard related, as long as it's Twitch safe and I can answer it without breaking Twitch terms of service, and I'm comfortable answering the question. I'll answer anything you guys can ask. Anything you guys throw at me is fair game. And if I can't answer, I'll give you a good reason as to why I can't answer. Okay. Jack Static says, where's the foam thing for the Weha tool stand supposed to go? Here, underneath the metal jacks. Can you see? Just there. Underneath the metal. It's so that when you put the tools in, the tools sit in the foam. Because some of the thinner tools, some of the smaller tools would just drop all the way through if the foam wasn't there. It's because they cheaped out on making the holes all the same size and not labeling them. Okay. So yeah, start thinking about your. Now I can use one. There you go, dude. There you go. Yeah, start thinking about having the questions. What you're gonna ask, guys. I'm almost there putting these switches in. I'm hoping I'm gonna get this bottom row right. I'm gonna have a look in a second at Mr. Petrov's build. Make sure I get this one the right way around. But I think, well, that one has to go in the center of that. Let me get his picture back up, and then we've got a 1U cap here. Yeah, okay. So 1U is gonna go there. That looks right. That looks right. Whether it is right or not, we'll find out once we've soldered the board and we're putting keycaps on. And if it's wrong, who cares? Who cares? But yeah, for how good the WeHa tools are, Jax, the stand is not the best. It's not the best. I do intend to actually make myself a version of that on the laser cutter out of acrylic, bent acrylic, where I'm actually going to make the holes the right size for each driver and label them as well, etch the labels in so I can make sure they're all correct. So if you would be of interest in one of those, I will make you one when I make mine, Jax, just for you, and I'll send it to you. Okay, almost there, folks. Once we've got these switches in, you guys can ask me anything you like. Because we're going to be soldering at that point. And all while we're soldering, I'll answer any questions that you guys ask. You just need to tag me with @TopClack, and then I will answer all of your questions. Just going to check for bent pins before I get the soldering iron plugged in, just to make sure that we are not going to have any problems with any switches. And DD as well, DD Decline, if you're still watching, dude, you probably need to DM me and tell me the names of people for a certain project. I'll look out for that. Okay. Doesn't look like we have any bent pins. Okay, we're good to go. We are good to solder. Give me 1 second, guys, to grab my cable for my soldering iron. There we go. Okay, so guys, questions. Get your questions in. Tag me with @TopClack, and you can ask me anything you like. Can be stream related, can be keyboard related, can be related to anything else at all. Open book policy here, guys. I'll answer anything you ask. Okay, shouldn't need anything else there. Looking good. Okay. Okay, so let's see if there was any questions. So Kim Chi Jody Boy asked about the build. So we actually gave it to chat to decide. So we're building an LZ Physix today. This is an LZ Physix I bought from another community member called Clay. I bought it about 2 weeks ago, and it finally arrived just a couple of days ago. Looks like a Maja. It's not a Maja. It's an LZ, Life Zone Physics. Life Zone was one of the earlier custom boards in the hobby. Make some great products. I actually have a few LZ boards. That's another one just there. That is an LZ ST. And this is the LZ Physix. Okay. Now it's all of the corner switches. We can start to move row by row. So Milbury says, were you going to cut to laser cut the equipment? If you mean where, I'm going to cut it the other side of the wall that's just here, because I have a 650mm by 750mm 150 watt laser cutter. So I will use my personal laser, well, my business's laser cutter to make them. We're currently in the office space for Prototypist Keyboards, which is my keyboard company. And just on the other side of the wall is the rest of the lockup, the warehouse, the workshop, whatever you want to call it. Some say it doesn't exist, but here I am. Okay. Hot Lemon Tea says, do you feel bad for Albon, and does he deserve a second chance in 2022? I like Albon as a person. I think he's a good driver. I think he's just come up short against Max. If he was in one of the other teams, like when he was before, when he was in Toro Rosso before, like he's shown that he's a talented driver. He was just promoted too soon. I think they promoted him too soon and didn't give him the right kind of guidance. Red Bull's mentality seems to be sink or swim, and that's not always going to work for most people. So for Max, it worked great. For someone like Lewis Hamilton, it worked just fine. For someone like Fernando Alonso, it worked great. But for someone like Jenson Button, for example, it wouldn't work, and it didn't work for Alex Albon. So I'd like to see him come back, but I don't think he will. I think that's the last we've seen of Albon in an F1 car in a full season. He may come back like Hulkenberg has done to do support races or something like that, to cover illnesses or accidents, but I don't think we'll see him with a permanent seat in a team again. And that's sad, but it's the way sport goes sometimes. Mr. Petrov says, with a loose plate like this, how do you ensure you get the switches pushed down flush against the PCB as you solder? Well, what the trick is, you push the PCB and the plate together, you nip them together, sorry, the switch and the PCB together, and as long as it's seated in the switch, the switch is seated into the PCB and it's protruding the right amount, then the plate's position is kind of irrelevant. You can almost pry it back up if you need to onto the switch once it's soldered. So as long as they're pressed in correctly, it's fine. The other trick you can use as well is you can put a bit of pressure as you're soldering to try and make sure that you get everything there. But I can see from looking at these that all of the bases of the switches are protruding correctly as they should be into the right amount. So I'm comfortable it's okay. If something does look misaligned afterwards, you can always go back, desolder that one or two switches, resolder, and just realign it if you need to. But I'm pretty confident that these are all okay. Okay. O-ring Alice, yes or no? Maybe. I'd like to see that. What kind of cutter? ULS? It's just a standard laser cutter. It's not a fiber cutter or anything like that. It's just a 150 watt laser cutter. If you want to see some videos of it, it'll be on my Insta because I post stories whenever I'm using it. So yeah. I always push down hard on the PCB when I solder. Yeah, like because I can see where the switches are protruding correctly. Like I can see where the correct position in the PCB. If they weren't in the correct position in the PCB, then I would absolutely be pressing down on it. But I can see how much the switch base is protruding. I can see how much the legs are protruding, and that's all as it should be. So I'm pretty confident they're flush with the PCB. I don't know. Maybe you just get an eye for this kind of thing, and you could tell afterwards. You can just tell if it's not right. I don't know. Like if I wasn't comfortable, I'd be going back and I'd be pressing the switch in. Sometimes you'll see me do that on streams where I'll go back and I'll press a switch off the PCB and plate assembly over. I'll press a switch and make sure it's pressed in. But yeah, you can always just reheat the pins and push it back through if you need to. But I'm pretty confident it's fine. Series fulfillment in 4.5 hours. You excited? Yes. I need to try and remember to enter it. Yeah. How much makes the average designer on a $100 GMK base kit? Depends on the vendor and designer agreement. Like that's impossible to tell you. Like it's different from set to set, and it's different from designer to designer. It's different from vendor to vendor. It depends on the base kit price. It depends on the price cost from GMK. It depends on 1,001 different things. It's different all the time. There's no set amount. It can be different every time. Okay. I mean, it's not going to replace your day job salary unless you're selling thousands of sets every month, but Yeah, it all depends. Margins are very based on quantity sold, among other factors. Yeah, it's just different every time. If you don't have the pace, you get replaced. Well, that's their philosophy. Yeah, it's back to the Formula One and Red Bull. I mean, it's interesting, but sometimes drivers just need a little bit of nurturing, and that's not something that Red Bull offer. They want you to either sink or swim, and that's fine.
Very nice.
Ooh, very nice. I am me, you are you. Thank you very much for 27 months of subs, dude. I love you. I respect you, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. 19-month streak. Thank you, dude. Thank you, man. Perez absolutely deserves that seat. Perez does deserve a seat. Yes, Perez does deserve a seat. 100%. After the way he's driven the second half of the season, after he came back from his COVID, yeah, he absolutely deserves it. Nick's Clicks is here and says, hey man, hey, good to see you, dude. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining the stream, sir. Cynthia says, what's your thought on base kit sizes? Smaller, cheaper kits than 65 TKL seems most popular, or large kits to encompass large, common layouts and changing tastes? Numpad often seems to end up in a separate kit, and 40s rarely meet MOQ, though you could achieve physical compact for a lot of 40s with 3 keys in base. Okay, so this is an interesting one, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. There's only a load of subjective answers, and the subjective answers depend on what your expectations are as you go into the set from a designer, vendor, seller perspective. Okay. The first question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to offer a big base kit or a smaller base kit? And my personal preference, just from a complete user perspective, not from a seller perspective, but from a complete user perspective, is that I like all-encompassing base kits. Firstly, I'm an ISO user, so of course I like to have ISO keys available. But secondly, I like to switch which boards I put the sets on. So having everything in one base kit makes more sense to me. And if you have a big base kit that costs $150, well, if you split that down into smaller kits where the base kit was, say, $100 and every other kit was, $30, $40 each, you're probably going to be spending $200 to get the same keys. The other way of looking at it is to say, well, I want as many people as possible to be able to afford a reasonably affordable base kit. Get the price down to $100 or so or whatever, and give more people the opportunity to buy. The expense is still there in terms of per key relationship. So per key, the amount is probably broadly similar. In fact, it'll be more expensive per key. But at the same time, you're getting the overall price down. The average user in this hobby is an ANSI, TKL, or lesser user. So whether that be a 60 or a 65 or otherwise. So therefore, you're appealing to the most common denominator on the market. And that's certainly a viable business way of looking at it. It just all depends on what your subjective thoughts and feelings are on whether you prefer a big base kit or a smaller base kit. And then it comes down to a financial decision from a vendor, designer perspective on what they're willing to promote and try to achieve. This is the reason why we rarely see Nordic kits run, because they struggle to make MOQ. And it's why you'd never put a Nordic kit in a base kit, because then it'd make it a $200 base kit straight off the bat, because there's just so many keys in there and so few people would use them. It's sad, but it's just the state of the hobby right now. My hope is that as the hobby grows, we'll actually see more users be able to support more of these kits, and that they'll actually sell more in group buys and through other means, whether that be extras or vendors buying them out to support it or whatever. I would like to see every set one day have, coverage available for every user, but we're a long way from that right now. The reason why this is an issue is because of the way that GMK structures their MOQ requirements. Now, this isn't a criticism of GMK, it's just a fact that the way they do it and the way that they create their MOQ system is more inclusive to one of two options, either a cheaper base kit with fewer keys in, or a slightly more expensive base kit with a load of keys in. And you just have to pick and choose between them. It's the lesser of two evils, and it's going to be a different answer between different sets. I hope that helps. Things like Cat do things differently, so you can have more kits because MOQ is done by per key rather than by per set, or per kit. It's just a little bit different. It's a slightly different way of looking at it. Okay. Milbury says, I have a desk job now, but I used to be a CNC 3D printer, laser cutter operator. I wish I still did that stuff since I got into cubes. Dude, I do it all here. I don't do CNC milling yet, but I do laser cutting. I do 3D printing all through here. I've got 3 3D printers. I've got the laser cutter in the workshop all set up. The 3D printers run pretty much all the time. I've just bought a 4th 3D printer, which should be here at some point in the near future. I'm tempted to buy some other machinery as well. We'll see. We'll see how 2021 goes. So we'll see how the new year shapes things. UIU says, hey, do you prefer that TS100 to other irons for your regular build stream? I kind of prefer something with a shorter gripped tip for normal projects. I find the TS100 the best iron to have if you're only going to have one. I've had about 30 soldering irons over the years, and this is the only one that I feel truly comfortable with. It's just the right size for my hands. It feels comfortable to hold. It heats up fast. Custom firmwares, powered by USB. I just have 0 problems with it. It's just a workhorse of an iron. I just prefer it to all the other ones. I don't like soldering stations where you have like a base thing with a knob to turn and stuff like that. I much prefer it all to be inclusive on the iron. And this is the best in class of that, I think. I've yet to find an iron that beats this one. I'd love to have a base kit that supports Alice, Minivan, and Prime E. I'd be fine with that for the cost. Sure, I get that. I really want to support Nord, but it's just unfortunate it isn't a runnable kit. Yeah, it needs pre-agreements from the vendors in European and ISO and Nordic countries to agree to make an MOQ, I think. Well, the machines that GMK uses are injection molding machines with certain specifications to allow them to use their molds. So there you go. Sakapruthi says, Jay, will you ever design your own GMK set ever or sometime in the near future? So, yes. So there is one set of mine that's already run, which was GMK Midnight Rainbow. There is another set that's going to run that hasn't entered IC, but it is happening. And there's about 3 or 4 projects I've got that will happen as well at some point in the near future. Probably mid to late 2021 for most of those projects, if not 2022. But there are some other key sets in the works right now as well. But yeah, I like my key sets. And of course, I'm involved with a ton of designers looking at their projects as well and helping them. Of course, that doesn't put me in the space of the design. In fact, I don't think I'm a designer at all in any way, shape, or usage of the word. But yeah, I was responsible for GMK Midnight Rainbow. Okay. Are you using flux? No, this is roasting cord solder. So this solder has flux within the core of it. So I don't need any separate flux. We can just solder it straight with the solder as it is. This is Kester branded solder, and it's pretty good. Okay. I hate Nordic kits. I only care about a few keys for UK ISO, but I feel bad for other regions if they don't include it. Yeah, I'm the same. I like UK ISO, but I like to get Nordic kits for a couple of reasons. Some of the keys that you get in Nordic kits are cool as hell. So the M mu key, the Q at key, there's some really nice keys there in the Nordic kits. So I will always buy a Nordic kit if there's one available on a set that I'm buying just to support it and help it get to MOQ. We kind of have to work together as Europeans to make that happen. So I think it's a cause worth supporting, is my view. Milbury says, that's awesome. I used to prototype any idea I had. It was great. Good lunch. Oh, good luck. Good lunch. Good luck. Not sure. So yeah, I like being able to play around and come up with some ideas is cool as hell. And I love being able to just walk out into the shop, make something, and then come back in here and test it out. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm so tempted to take out a loan from a vertical machining center. I don't know if it's the best decision, but I do really want one. It definitely is the best class. Oh, yeah. So if you're going to look at a mill, my recommendation would be don't rush into it. Take your time. and invest in the right products. There's some cheap ones out there. You can get a reasonable tarmac or something for $20,000-$30,000. My advice would be don't look at those, because you won't get the results that you want in the time frame that you want. And as soon as you do get the results you want, you'll want something that's bigger and better. So don't bother looking at the simpler, cheaper machines, because as soon as you get, say, keycaps, if that's your idea, as soon as you get that down, the next thing you're going to want is something that can make bigger parts. And then you're going to want to make your own keyboards, and you're just not going to be able to do it on most size tarmacs. Certainly not to the kind of like level of specification that we like in the hobby. So look at doing it properly if you're going to do it. That would be my advice. Get ready to spend, $100,000, $150,000 on a machine. Get ready to spend another $50,000 on tooling over the first year and materials and stuff like that. Get ready to spend 6 months teaching yourself how to use it, and then go for it. Just be ready for it and think about it through. Okay, soldering done. She's going to take off. Take care. Thanks, Matt. Nice to see you here. The Pace ADS 2000 probably best for the money. They're not portable like the TS100. I have a TS100 when I travel or want to solder something on my desk. Sure, that's fine. I just like the TS100. I'm a big fan of it. I'm genuinely not trolling here. Is there a glossary of terms for this hobby? I get a bit lost with all the alphabet soup. I work in IT where we have our own alphabet soup. Lots of acronyms. There isn't at the minute, but if you have any questions on any of them, thock thumbs, I'm more than happy to help. If you have any acronyms that are prevalent in the hobby that you don't know the answer to or what they mean, I'm more than happy to try and clarify those for you. You can get the right thing out of a Haas VM1 though, and at about double the cost. Yeah. Like if you're gonna go for a Haas machine, you don't want a VM1 or a VF1. You want a VF2 SS. That's what you want, because you're gonna need the spindle speeds to be able to cut certain materials and certain metals. There's no point in half-assing it, is my view on that. So VF2 SS is probably the kind of starter one that you'd want if you want to make a keyboard and you don't want to make parts. If you want to make an actual keyboard, VF2 SS is probably the minimum you want to make it. And even if you get VF2 SS, you're going to need to spend another $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on tools and parts and making sure you've got three-phase electricity and all of those kind of things available as well. So it's not an investment that's for the faint of heart. You need to make sure that you're ready for it, and you need to plan for it. And you need a lot of space. A VF2 SS takes up about 3 meters by 2.5 meters. It's a huge amount of space that you need to be ready for. Bigger than a car garage, a single car garage. Okay, more expensive is cheaper in the long. It is, like, it's like anything. Like, you buy a tofu, and within a year you're gonna want a rama, you're gonna want a Wilberboard, you're gonna want a Kika, whatever, right? You're gonna want the next thing. You're gonna want something better. So you're not thinking ahead though. You're thinking your base project. But as soon as you get that base project down, you're going to want to go faster and faster and faster and do more and more and more. And you're going to want to go bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, don't plan for your first project, plan for your 10th project. Think about this in chess terms. Don't plan for your first move, your first piece, your pawn, or whatever it is. Plan for when you need to make the whole board, right? Because if you don't, you're just going to end up spending more money later on down the line. Let's get into VC. Me and you. Let's have a chat. VC, me and you, in the next couple of days. At some point before Christmas, let's sit down and have a chat, because I have some knowledge on this a little bit to talk through. And for those of you who don't know, like, some people do know, some people don't. I've not really publicized this, but I went through a whole process of trying to buy a Haas machine through Haas earlier on this year. I spec'd it out to exactly how I wanted it. We had agreed financial terms. I paid a €10,000 deposit, and then they decided to change the terms of the agreement on me. They actually changed it twice. The first time they changed the terms of the agreement on me from a financial perspective, I agreed to it and it was copable with. The second time I couldn't agree to it because it just made it too pricey with COVID and everything else. It was significantly more expensive than what they told me it would be. So we ended up cancelling the agreement. It took me a further 3 months to get my refund of the €10,000. But we got there in the end. and we're going to try and sort something out in the new year. So that's like a whole story about where I got to with it. But it's a really, really big thing. It's a really big thing, and it's a big investment, and you need to be prepared to pay it off over 5 to 10 years. You're not going to pay it off immediately. But yeah, let's sit down in a voice chat, I meet you, and we'll talk it through. Yeah, Anno is a big thing, Mr. Petrov, you're right, because it's not just about making the keyboard, it's about making sure it's got a good finish. So you don't just need the machine, you then need like tumbler machines to polish or sandblasting cabinets and things like that. Then you need to find a good local high quality anodizer, and they do not exist. They are so difficult to find. It's really hard. It's not like China where everything's set up to be a factory. Like, their cities are factories. Their cities are designed for factories to be able to pass parts around and stuff like that. Nowhere in the Western world do we have that. You'll end up shipping it 60 miles, 70 miles away to have it anodized, and it comes back and it's not quite right. So you'll drive over there and you'll talk to them, and they'll do one and it'll be perfect, and then you'll come home and then they'll do another 10 and they'll be crap. And you know, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. There's a lot of moving parts to consider. Jay, you are speaking like a true project manager, seeing the big picture instead of a short-term goal. Hey man, I've done it for 15 years. I kind of feel like this. Like, sometimes you don't want the Rolls-Royce solution. Sometimes you want the skateboard that will just get your project from A to B. Other times you need the Rolls-Royce. Like, it depends on what your end goal is. If your end goal is the shop down the road to get a chocolate bar, the skateboard might be fine. But if your end goal is a wedding and you need to get there looking stylish, you need the Rolls Royce, right? It's no point in looking at just the journey. It's looking at the end picture as well. Making sure you've got the right direction of travel, and making sure that you're getting there in the right way. Because if you don't, you're going to just end up spending more later on. Because it might be that you get halfway there on the skateboard, and then you realize you're going to have to change it to a motorbike, and then you're going to have to change it to a car, and then you're going to have to change it from a basic car to the Rolls Royce. And you end up spending more and taking longer to get there rather than just taking the right step at the right time. Huey needs a Rolls Royce, duly noted. Yeah. I think a lot of what I've been looking at has been finding machines that are used for decent deals. I think that might be more available in the States, though. My advice would be, don't go used for stuff like that, because you don't know how badly it's been treated, and it's really difficult to measure stuff like in a demo, a really quick demo, like spindle tolerances. If they've just once dropped it into the tombstone or the base of the deck and just ruined it, you're not going to know on a small demo piece that they're going to cut while you're there. You're only going to find that out when you cut your first big chunk of metal and you realize that it's 2 millimeters out at one end compared to the other end, right? It just... little things like that. I don't know. Like, I'm really nervous of that. If the world was normalish again, would you consider going to China to meet your main menus and anodizers? Yeah, so this was actually all planned towards the back end of 2019. When Prototypers actually started, I actually planned trips out to China, Korea, and a couple of other places, and they were going to happen throughout 2020, and every single one of them had to be canned because of COVID. So those will happen at some point, but they're likely to be different suppliers because I've moved around a little bit over the past year. But yeah, it's a thing to consider. It's a thing to consider. I hope I never need a Rolls Royce. Well, you just, it doesn't have to be the Rolls Royce. You just need to know what the end part is so that you can make the right decision up front. Like, genuinely, it needs a lot of thinking about. And if you're going to do it, you need to set up a business, a shell company, and have a source of income of that company to make sure it's all above board and legal as well. You just have to really think about it. Find a hobby shop or whatever they're called, make a space and practice there. Yeah, making toolpaths in Fusion or SolidWorks is easy. Once you're in front of a machine, setting up things change. So the setting up the toolpaths in Fusion is one thing, but unless you've got the actual tools to make those toolpaths work, that's a completely different thing. Like, you can't set up toolpaths in Fusion until you know what tools you've got. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation. And you're going to need a hell of a lot of tools. Like, just even collets are like $500 a piece or whatever, right? So, and you're going to need 20 of those minimum. So prices are going to, the amount of equipment that you're going to need is going to be expensive. It's a lot. Tools are expensive. Yeah, like whatever you're going to spend on the machine, budget a third to spend on tools as well. Right? That's what you need to do. But we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat. We'll have a talk. We'll sit down. We'll talk. We'll have a talk. I'll tell you all about my story with Haas and everything else that I've been planning on doing and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll talk it through. We'll talk it through because there's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot we can do. Right. Okay. So we've soldered the keyboard. It's now time to test the keyboard. So let's get up switch hitter and let's get this on the screen to display. Doop 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 doo. Okay, where's switch hitter? There it is. Okay, so you guys should be able to see switch hitter now. I think this cable is plugged in, so let's try using this. Oh, we get LEDs, that's good. Okay, let's see what we've got then, guys. Let's see if the keys all work here. So all looking good so far. Okay, all looking good on that first row. I've realized I've got this set for let's just change this over to ANSI. There we go. This might give us a better view. Okay, trick those. That's all working. Wait. Did we not solder that switch? We didn't solder that switch. We missed that one switch. It's fine. We can go back and do that later. Okay, all working there. Caps lock's working. Missing the keys. Okay, all looking good there. Wait, both B's working? Yeah, both B's working. Okay, and we've got up. Yeah, they're all working. That's working. That's working. That's working. That's working. That's working. That's working. This should be FN, so we should have F keys. Yeah, okay. Everything works apart from the one switch we didn't solder. I'll fix that just now. Okay. Let's quickly solder this one key. Don't know how we missed this. Probably just from talking. Once the world is normal again, we need a keycon. Agreed. We need a lot of things when the world's normal again. Yeah, we definitely need a lot of things like that. Hey, he's bled in. Here he is. This is not a Duck Viper V2. No, the Duck Viper V2 is on the floor at the side of me, bled in. The Duck Viper V2 is on the floor at the side of me. Chat got to pick earlier on, and Chat picked the physics. We did take a look at the Viper V2, and Chat picked the physics over the Viper V2. It's just here. Here you go, bled. Here, just for you, bled in. I'm going to get out the Viper V2 for you. There you go. There is the Viper V2. And we'll probably build it next week. We'll get around to it. Well, not next week, but probably in the new year now. I think this will be the last build stream for this year. Okay, so the board's all working, all soldered together, all looking good. It's time to now put it in the case. Now to do so, we need to put our little rubber grommets back in place. So we're just going to slide these on. You're a good man. Beautiful. Thanks, man. It's a nice board. I'm not a good person, though. I'm a reasonable person. There's some truly great people out there. I am not one of them, I'm sure. Reminder to remove the weight, please. Yes, 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 I will do it. You did pay the bits. Yes, yes, that's right, Mr. Petrov. Yes, I haven't forgotten. Well, I have, but you've reminded me. The grommet design is really clever, actually. I kind of like this. Okay. Okay, that's all in place. It's all going to line up nicely. Now we can take out the weight in here because we promised Mr. Petrov that we would. And then once we put the board together, we need to decide on a keycap set. Don't let Petrov bully me. He didn't bully me. He paid bits to make sure that I would take the plate out, the weight out. I wouldn't. Is it a weight? It's a piece of thin metal. I think it's a plate. It's let's call it a plate, and let's call it not a weight but a plate, and an acoustic resonance effector. That's what I'm going to call it. Come up with your own names. A shim. Yeah. You can see again, guys, that the anodization is really patchy here. There's a dark stripe just up here, and then it's much lighter underneath. Same down here, there's dark stripes. Really patchy is the anodization on the base. Okay, next step, put the case back together. Now, for some reason, Clay, when I bought this off him, he did not send all of the screws needed to hold this board together. So, we're only going to be able to put a few screws in, but I'm going to put the corner screws in. And I'm going to have to find some in my workshop that will replace these to put the board together. Extra screws, £100. Yeah, I'll have some that'll fit. I'll have some nice torque screws that'll fit. I think these are M3x10, so I will 100% have some screws that will fit this. You wouldn't download a screw, Mr. Petrov. EA would like to talk to LZ. Okay. Oh, you've downloaded many screws. Interesting, Mr. Petros. I think you're using a different version of the word screw here. A different meaning of the word. Okay, there we go. Case is now screwed together, and we've taken the internal acoustic modifier out. It's time now to put some keycaps on the board. So, guys, we have some choices for you. Let's hope that all of these sets I have to one side actually have everything in. Because what I'm afraid of is you guys are going to pick a key set here, and then I'm going to pick the box up, and not all of the keys are going to be in it because it's going to be on a board somewhere. So let's see what we've got. So we've got GMK Royal Alpha. I'm going to make a poll for you. We've got GMK Shoko. Might be GMK Retro, I think. GMK Space Cadet. Oh wait, I can only have 5 responses here. I can't add any more responses. And I don't think that's one of the other ones. So let's go GMK Bento. Okay, let's start the poll. And guys, you've got 3 minutes to pick a keycap set that we're going to use today. And hopefully, whichever one you pick, I'll actually have all the keycaps in the tray and they won't be in use on a board somewhere. Let's see what you guys pick. You've got 3 minutes, guys. Give me what you want to use. Vostok is not one of them. Vostok's in the warehouse. Coinstorm says, what are your thoughts on the fake keycap sets that have been gaining traction recently? I'm not going to support them. That's as simple as it is. I'm not going to get into any more details than that. I'm just not going to support them. I don't see Ursa. If you guys really, really, really want Ursa, just spam chat with Ursa. And if I think there's enough Ursas in chat, I will go and get Ursa because it's in the warehouse and I can grab it. But it'll mean 2 minutes away from here. But I'll need to see at least 30 Ursas in chat. 1 per person. Yeah, it's a different GMK Retro. Yeah, I think it's GMK Retro. I don't actually know what it is. Wait, I'm just guessing here. Let's have a look. Oh, it's Arabic Retro. It's Retro Arabic because it's completely sealed. It's Retro Arabic. Oh, you're all going to make me get Ursa, aren't you? That doesn't count. Bad. Banned. Bad. Do you really want me to go get Ursa, guys? Do you really, 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 really want me to go get Ursa? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's end the poll. Let's end the poll. Let's do a new poll. Let's do a new poll. Answer that one instead, guys. Answer that one instead. And let me know what you think on this one, guys. If Ursa wins this, then we'll do it. What's this scam election? It's called J-mocracy. Basically, we do whatever I want to do. Stop the count. There is no count. If Ursa doesn't win this now, I'm just going to pick a set and you're all going to have to like it. Let's recount the votes a few times. Space Cadet was winning before. Fine. If Ursa doesn't win this, then I will go get. Then I will use Space Cadet. Anyone voting no is just trolling. Okay. Pick something with Cyrillic Legends. Nothing here with Cyrillic Legends apart from Space Cadet. Well, that's not Cyrillic Legends anyway. But yeah. I've got Arabic Legends here. I don't have any Cyrillic Legends right now. I'd have to go to Warehouse to get something with Cyrillic Legends on. So it's either Ursa and I go to the West and get it, or it's Space Cadet, basically. Count the mail-in votes. Yeah, we'll consider the mail-in votes for the stream in 2021. Voter fraud. I have no proof, but it's there. Sounds good to me, man. It's a J-mocracy, so anything goes here. Okay, you've got about a minute left, guys. It's pretty even, actually, between yes and no for Ursa. The no's have it right now, but only by one vote. So it's kind of interesting. I'm really interested to see, guys, how this goes. J-mocracy. Yeah, I mock you. That's what I do. I just mock chat all the time. Sounds good. Fight it up through the courts, I dare you. Okay, well, I'm judge, jury, and executioner, and I say I'm okay. So that's fine. It can't end equal because I have a vote. So I'm not putting 2 keycap sets on it. No, it's only having 1 keycap set on. I'm not doing the whole split thing. Someone needs to vote within like the next 15 seconds. I'm not doing a split board, Mr. Petrov. I'm not doing. How on earth do you guys tie this? I'm gonna have to go get Space Cadet. Go get Ursa, aren't I? Okay. Okay. Let me go get Ursa. I'll be back in a minute, guys. Entertain yourselves for 30 seconds to a minute. I will go get Ursa. I'm back. And we have GMK Ursa. So there we go. Thank you very much for sending me off, guys, to do that. I'm not doing half and half, Sean. I'm not. It looks awful. It looks really, really bad when we do that. See you in 10 years, Dad. I'm in my mum's car. Well, this is what we did on stream the other day, Porcupine. I basically spent all day labeling GMK sets as I put them in these tubs. So, yeah. And I actually have like loads of these tubs just to one side, in case we did it again with the key sets today. Which is why you guys had the choice of doing that or doing the build. Well, I know I don't need the space bars for this. Right. Okay, is that the shift key we need for that? No, must be the one we need for here then. Yes. It's bouncier than I was expecting it to be. It's this keyboard. Is that the one we need for there? Yeah. Okay. Are those tubs from Dixie? No, I found a local supplier here in the UK that sells these tubs. And I bought them from there. I bought a few hundred, and I've been using them for a few weeks, and they're pretty good. Okay. Is that 1.25 we need? Yeah, okay. Wait. I didn't want to put that in. Okay. I'm just going to do the modifier keys afterwards. We do need arrows. We need alphas. Shouldn't need that. Page up and page down. We've got those there. Has anyone mentioned that the board matches your mouse really, really well? Thanks. Yeah, I bought a few hundred of these tubs. Yeah. Okay, so that's the control key for that. We'll use the super key there as FN. Oh wait, we should have used green arrows. I forgot we had green arrows. Let's use the green ones. These switches are ink switches, lube machine. They're just inks. Black inks, lubed with 205 grade 0. Yeah, the build is because the instruction's not there because chat had the choice today on what we actually built. Okay. Shouldn't need that. Shouldn't need that. Just going to try and put everything we could possibly need to one side. And then we'll go from there. Let's go for mod colored. People can shout at me if they dislike that, but hey, I don't usually build ANSI, so you guys will just get what we get. Is that the right size for there? No. There we go. Yo dog, I heard you like shift. Actually, doesn't look that bad. Yeah, it'll look all right with this as a key set on here. I don't think it'll look bad. We just need an alt key now. Well, let's go with the accent escape. I won't use accent. Enter. Don't use it. ISO key. We do need that. Oops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't need F keys. 890. Don't need ISO enters. These are the coolest enters in the world, though, guys. Paddington Bear on an ISO enter key. How cute is that? Okay, we can get rid of a lot of these mod keys now. We just need one more mod key for caps lock, one more mod key for tab, which we haven't come across yet. They should be in here. There's the caps lock steps, of course. There's the alt. Right, we just need the tab key now, which is that. There we go. Okay, so we just need alphas for the rest of it. Okay. Okay. Right, let's see if we can get through putting the rest of these on relatively quickly. Okay. Gonna go scoot. Because scoops are best. Yodog, I heard you like shift. Yeah. If you do, that's correct. If you do accent errors on 65%, it has to have mod enter. Okay, interesting. Krobit would like to know your location. Oof. Mod pipe. I don't agree with that. Okay. I don't use ice. I don't use anti, so it's fine. How ironic that the best ISA anti yet the board only supports ANSI. I know, Anarchy, I know. I watched mine the other day, the same thing happened. Meow meow, hello, Ergo Gang and Top Clack. Hey, Unicorn, thanks for joining. Scoops are best. Those are fighting words. Hey, you don't have to agree with me. The fun thing here is that we can all disagree and we can still be friends. So that's a thing. We can still be friends even if you don't agree with me. This is where I find that I've put some of the keys I need back in there. Okay. There we go, guys. You guys can hate on mod pipe whatever you like. Like, I'm used to having an ISO enter key here, and the ISO enter takes up that space and that space. So that's usually mod colored, right? Like here you go. I know it's accent on here, but that's all one color. It's this part of the key that's different. So gosh, that's heavy. So hey, I don't mind. What about mod pipe on ISO? Right, so one of the things I've actually argued for is that this key, the pipe key on ISO, should be mod colored. I think that would absolutely look better if that was mod colored. Like, I'd like that. I would like that. I personally think that would be interesting to see. But no one ever does it because it's an alpha key. So, but I'd like to see it. I would definitely like to see it. I like the color here. I like that matching. But anyway, guys, here's the physics with Ursa. So Nathan Alphaman, I hope you're happy that we put it. Jax, I tell you what, I will trade you using anytime I build an NC board, I will always use alpha colored pipe if you sell me a Rukia. There you go. I never understood why pipe is so big on ANSI, because they've got this whole space to fill. They've got this whole space to fill. We're struggling to get a single key there for ISO, and now you want mod ones. But there you go, guys. This looks good, actually. It kind of works with the grey. I didn't expect this to look nice, but I really kind of do think it looks okay. I was going to use this on an whiteboard. So yeah. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, shall we see what this sounds like? And see how it is. I'm going to turn off the music and I'm going to take my headphones off. Now, guys, you have to bear in mind that I'm not the best typist in the world. I do not use correct procedure. I do not use correct rows or anything else like that. I haven't typed on an Alice layout for probably 18 months since I sold my Alice board. So typing is not going to be the best today. Like, genuinely, it's not going to be the best today. Well, I don't need to plug in plugging in the USB cable does not affect sound. Don't need to plug it in, so I'm not going to do that. But let's have a listen and see how it sounds. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try and type on this. This is going to not be pretty, so I apologize. I can't type on this. This is going to take me some getting used to, guys. This is really difficult to type on. There we go. Okay. 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 Like, I struggle to type on this. Like, that's clearly obvious. I struggle to type on this, so I apologize about that, guys. That was a terrible typing test. But, like, do you know what? It sounds alright. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. I can't use space with this hand, but I did notice one thing, guys. While I was using this board then, I'm usually a 4-finger space typer, but I was using my thumb. I realized that halfway through. That's why I laughed really hard halfway through. But yeah, I can't type on this kind of layout very easily. I'm going to use this for a week and see how I feel about it. But the board sounds really good. Like, left-hand space sounds terrible. Hold on. It's probably just the way I'm hitting it. It's probably just the way I'm hitting it, guys. Let's try it. The board sounds good. It sounds really good, like unbelievably good. I'm very impressed with it. Like, I'm really impressed with that. I'm really impressed with how that sounds. What's wrong with left-hand space? I'm just, yeah, I struggle with this layout, Huey. I apologize. I'm right-handed and use left hand to press space. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Now you know why I go on about it. It sounds great. It sounds great. And the reason I think it sounds great is because it's carbon fiber and it's isolated from the case. Like, that's why I think it is. And the space underneath the PCB for that sound to build and develop. Yeah, I like it. It sounds interesting in a good way. Yeah, I like it. It's nice. It has that pull ball on pull ball sound. Agree. Yeah, it does. It does. It sounds like, yeah, it's nice. I like it. That's the first time I've tried to use an Alice layout in a long time, and I really struggle to type on that. I really struggle to type on it. They're nearly always sternly worded emails in my head, Mr. Petrov, that I type out. That's why I don't really show what I'm typing. Yeah. Okay. That comes my soul, warms the jellies. What did that board gets dailied by a UK member who uses it for everything from regular typing to sweaty COD sessions. Oh, is this my Alice that I sold? Yeah, the Alex with Nix's jack static. So I built that 2.5 years ago on stream. And I sold that to a guy who makes custom keycaps here in the UK called Glove, and I sold it to him dirt cheap. I sold it to him at a ridiculously, stupidly dirt cheap price. Bear in mind that the switches were £5 each or $6 each at the time, and it's an Alice, and I sold it to him for less than $1,000. But I do have the dibs to buy it back if he ever decides to sell it. So if he ever decides to sell it, I get first dibs on it. And the reason I sold the board was because the wife would not let me go to Seattle meetup last year unless I used the board to fund the trip. This was before prototype, it's before there was business money involved and all of that kind of stuff to kind of justify a trip. And it wasn't that we didn't have the money, it was that she wouldn't let me use the money for what she saw as a holiday that I was going on without her unless I sold something personal. So the Alice was what went, and the Alice funded it. But yeah, sounds shit with the weight. I'll trust you on that, and I'll try it with the weight in later on. Yeah, I'll try it with the weight in later on. But yeah, that Alice is looked after in a really nice way. Jack Static. It's used daily by Glove. He uses it for absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Yeah, I'll try offline with the weight, Mr. Petrov. I will try it offline. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm really impressed by this. Like, I just wish the finish was nicer on the board itself. Like, the top case is nice, but I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's an actual color difference on the rear of the case between the two parts. You can see it towards this end. You can see that the top case is actually a different color to the bottom case, if it focuses. Come on, focus. Focus, please. Come on, camera. Silly camera. But there's a difference in the top color of the cases here, and this is patchy as hell all along the back. It's really, really patchy. If I keep this in the collection, I don't sell it on, because I got it for a great price, I'll be honest. If I keep this and don't sell it on, I'm gonna have to have this recoated, because even on the part that's good, there's still marks and stuff. Like, let me try and zoom in a little bit. Okay. So just looking on this back piece here, it's patchy here. It's darker on this edge all the way down, but it's really, really patchy all on here. Like, if I'd sold this board, I would have QC'd this as B stock, because that's just really poor. And then the other thing as well is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to line this up to show you, but there's kind of like a seam line across this piece here. I don't know if I can get the light to actually show it. Maybe just there. There's like a seam line across there. Can you kind of see it here? How there's like two tones on this top piece? Just all the way down. It's really hard to show. It's really easy to see in the light, and it's really hard to show it. I can't quite... There. Can you guys see that line now? Can you see that line there? Is that visible? You can see it on the camera now. Yeah. It's really hard to show you. Like, it's really hard to show you, but it's really noticeable IRL. But it's really hard to get the camera to show it. You can kind of see it there. So yeah. But it does look good. Like from the top down, it looks great. The Physix logo looks good. Yeah, I like the board. I like it a lot. I like the way it feels. I like the way it types. There's some slight flexibility to it. It sounds great. Just the ano. You guys can see it now. Good. Miss Poster says, you know what's a weird one to me? The board has a really unique sound. Once you've used it for a week or so, I'd love your more considered thoughts as to why it sounds like it does. Okay, I'll have a look at that. I think it's because of large areas in the CF plate that are unbroken, very different from almost all other CF plates. I'll take a look. What did you think to the sound of your JO2, Mr. Petrov? How are you getting on with that? I'd be interested to see how you're getting on with that. But I'll have some thoughts on this in a week or so. I'll use it for a week, and then we'll see how we feel about it. Let's try zooming out just a touch. There we go. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the board. Has a crisper sound, but less creamy. That's fair. Okay. I thought I'd stained my mat then, but that's actually part of the drawing. That's part of the design. Yeah, so the build, Creon King, this was an LZ Physix, and we let chat pick between a couple of builds and a couple of chores earlier on today, so it doesn't display it correctly there, but it was an LZ Physix we built with Gatoron inks today on a carbon fiber plate, which is, ta-da, this is the board. But yeah, I was really, really happy with how it sounded. Again, I just think it needs refinishing. What does a good re-anode job cost in the UK? Single board, aka 2 or 3 pieces, same colour. Couple of £100, 200 quid. Yeah. My chair is named Physix. Well, this is an LZ Physix. Walker says Ursa looks great. Ursa looks really good. Like, Ursa is a top tier key set. Okay. Right then, folks. Well, I'm kind of at the end of the build stream now. I'm really happy with how this board came out. I think it does need refinishing. This might be the first board I Cerakote in-house. Maybe. We'll see. Who do you recommend for Anno in the UK, by the way? Someone who does similar stuff to Caustic Customs, if that exists. There isn't really anyone I've tried that I would trust to do it. I have had stuff done through Caustic Customs before, but there's a bit of a wait list, and it's not cheap. If you want Cerakote in the UK, Tack Coatings is probably the best at the minute that I've tried. There are others people out there, but I can't.
Very nice.
Hamdawadi, thank you very, very much for the subscription, man. 2 months, currently on a 1 month streak. Thank you, dude. But yeah, I can't vouch for anyone in the UK. I've tried a lot of anodization houses, which supposedly do anodization, and none of them have been what I'd call decorative anodization. They've all been functional anodization. So this is anodization that is okay if it's a little bit patchy. They don't do something that has to be perfect, and that's the hard part. Would the Cerakote play well with the logo? It should be fine. Like, Cerakote is really thin, so it should be fine. Like that, if you can feel it with your nail, it'll show through Cerakote. You can feel that with your nail 100%. So that should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, it's going to be fine. So yeah, we'll have a think about what we're going to do with the board. But I like this build that's in it. I'm going to use it for a week, see how I feel. Sadly, that will mean that the other LZ has to come off the desk for a week, because I kind of love this board. This board I was after for such a long time, and it's one of the few boards that actually works really nicely with the RGBs. Yeah. IMU says the Cerakote should be about 0.002 inches. Yeah, it's really thin. Hamdawadi says, I'm going to steal it after a week. Oh, is this Hamza? You need to send me the other board back first. He borrowed an Alice layout board. He needs to send me that back before he can borrow this one. But yeah, then you can borrow it. Send me the other one back, and you can borrow this one. But we're gonna see if there's anyone on to raid now. Let's see if there's anyone who's live who we can raid. Let's have a look. Who's online? Doesn't look like there's anyone I know online. Is there anyone in Makers and Crafting doing keyboards? Who's on? So we've got someone doing Bueno Builds doing a Jane 1.5, or we've got Keystream doing a KB. Let's do Keystream because he's only got 10 viewers. So let's raid Keystream. There's something happening here. He's only got 10 viewers, so let's go raid Keystream, guys. I want you to tell him that his build is amazing. I want you to give him all the pointers and tips you can. I want you to treat him like a god. Be really, really good to him. He's got 10 viewers. I think we should. Wait, was Mike blow his mind. Off? Let's go raid him.
Oh, sorry.
And thank you very much for watching tonight, guys. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you, and I love being able to stream for you guys. So thank you very much.
I just noticed.
But I'm really, really keen to go raid this guy. So I'm going to roll the outro, and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
It's on now.